packing something pretty unique. On the surface, this source material looks like a super practical guide giving us 5 specific habits to totally transform our daily routines. But dig a little deeper, and it's actually a literal script. It completely reveals the hidden mechanics of how advice is packaged to grab our attention online. So we're going to figure out how to upgrade our lives, but at the exact same time, we'll be decoding the psychology behind why certain stuff just spreads like wildfire across our feeds. The material hooks us right away with a question we've all definitely asked ourselves. What do successful people actually have in common? It's a great question, right? But the answer they give totally shifts the perspective. It pulls us away from this idea that success is just about getting lucky or having some extreme natural talent. The source explicitly points out that success is absolutely not about being born with some innate, extraordinary superpower. It's not magic. Instead, it's entirely about simple, replicable daily routines. Honestly, that's a profoundly empowering shift. It basically means the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be isn't some uncrossable chasm of genetics or circumstance. It's really just a series of small, manageable choices that you repeat consistently. To really anchor this idea, the source makes this incredibly clear, curiosity-inducing promise right out of the gate. 30 days. Yep. It claims that by just adopting these very small, simple routines, you can completely transform your life in just 1 month. Psychologically speaking, this is a brilliant time frame. It feels totally achievable to us. It's long enough to start building a new neural pathway, a new habit, but short enough that almost anyone can say, okay, I'll try this, without feeling crushed by a massive lifelong commitment. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we've got the 30-day promise. Then we'll jump into the 2-minute magic, followed by focus and rest. After that, we'll hit the power of no, which seriously is the next level habit you'll absolutely want to stick around for, before we wrap the whole thing up with daily learning and viral tips. Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the 30-day promise. Moving right along to Section 2, the 2-minute magic. All right, let's dive into this. To really get this rule, we have to look at the whole 30-day framework. We're going on a micro to macro journey here. We're starting with these incredibly small, almost effortless physical actions to build up some confidence before we eventually tackle the heavier, more complex psychological boundaries. And this very first step takes on a problem literally all of us face: laziness and procrastination. We all have those tiny tasks we put off, right? We just let them pile up in the background until they feel like a mountain. Well, the solution here is elegantly simple: the 2-minute rule. Basically, if a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, you do it immediately instead of putting it off. The reasoning actually goes way deeper than just keeping a tidy room. Unfinished tasks are kind of like open tabs on your internet browser. They just sit there, slowly draining your mental RAM. Knocking out these tiny tasks instantly lifts that heavy psychological pressure off your mind, freeing up your brain power for the deep work that actually matters. The source gives some super relatable examples of how you can use this rule right now, today. Organizing your study table, firing off a quick reply to an email, or just putting things back in their proper place around the house. None of these things require deep focus, crazy planning, or breaking a sweat. But by just knocking them out in under 120 seconds, you immediately break that awful cycle of procrastination. You get an instant dopamine hit of accomplishment. You completely stop the dread of a growing to-do list before it even starts. And you build real forward momentum for the rest of your day. Up next is Section 3, focus and rest. So now that we've cleared out those tiny physical distractions, we have to face the battle for our daily energy. And that battle starts the exact second we wake up. The source gives a massive warning against the ultimate bad habit: waking up, blindly grabbing your phone, and instantly scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, or a huge wave of notifications. Immersing your brain in high-stimulus, reactive stuff the second you open your eyes just sets a chaotic tone that totally wrecks your cognitive energy for the rest of the day. The fix? A morning digital detox. The rule is super straightforward. Keep away from your phone for the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Instead, swap that screen time for a walk, drinking a glass of water, or just mentally planning out your schedule. Building this calm, proactive morning environment lets your brain wake up naturally. In fact, the source claims this simple swap can increase your morning focus 100 times over. No joke. But hey, managing your energy isn't just a morning thing. It's about surviving our screen-obsessed lives all day long. From a biological standpoint, it's really unnatural for human eyes to stare at a fixed close distance for hours on end. Because we spend so much time glued to monitors for work or studying, our eye muscles get completely locked up and our brains get exhausted. To fight this biological mismatch, the text offers a really necessary reset button, the 20-20-20 rule. Here's how it works. For every 20 minutes you look at a screen, you need to look at something at least 20 feet away, and you just rest your eyes on that distant point for 20 seconds. Looking 20 feet away is the exact distance your eye's ciliary muscles need to fully relax. This little repeating cycle acts like a pressure release valve. It drastically reduces eye strain, wards off headaches, and lets you keep your focus way longer without hitting that brutal mid-afternoon wall of exhaustion. Moving on to Section 4, the power of no. All right, we are officially entering the realm of high-level psychological habits. We've moved past organizing desks and resting our eyes. This one is all about boundaries. The source drops this incredibly heavy-hitting quote: "When you say yes to others' unimportant tasks, you are actually saying no to your own time and dreams." Just let that sink in for a second. The text explicitly states that this is the absolute most crucial step of the entire 30-day transformation. Look, as humans, we're wired for social cohesion, right? We naturally want to be helpful, which makes saying no feel really socially dangerous. It's so easy to fall into the people-pleasing trap. But the profound lesson here is that time is a zero-sum game. Every single minute you spend appeasing someone else's non-essential request is a minute stolen from your own progress. Establishing polite but firm boundaries and getting comfortable saying no is literally the ultimate key to protecting your future. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Daily Learning and Viral Tips. Before we pull back the curtain on the viral mechanics hidden in this text, we have one last daily habit for personal growth, and it hits right at the most common excuse in the modern world. I just don't have time to read. The solution here is an exercise in radical simplicity. Don't read the whole book. Just read one single page a day. Seriously, that's it. A single page almost always contains at least one new idea, concept, or perspective. When you stretch that tiny minimal effort over a whole year, you hit 365. That's 365 new ideas, mental models, and opportunities generated every single year from something that takes maybe 3 minutes a day to complete. It is the absolute definition of getting a massive impact from minimal, consistent effort. Okay, now what's really fascinating here is the machinery behind the message itself. The source material wasn't just throwing out these 5 habits, it was actively instructing creators on how to package them perfectly to get maximum views online. This viral strategy breaks down the exact psychology of capturing human attention. Take the thumbnail, for instance. The strict rule is to keep text to an absolute minimum, like 3 to 4 words max over an attractive image. Why? Because our scrolling brains process simple visual cues instantly, while a cluttered, messy image gets completely ignored. Then there's the title. You have to engineer a curiosity-inducing promise, something like, transforming your life in 30 days. It creates an information gap that the viewer literally feels compelled to click and close. And the background music? It's got to be light, positive, and trending, but carefully mixed so it never drowns out the voice. What we're looking at is a masterclass in how simple visual limits, psychological curiosity gaps, and really calculated audio engineering are specifically designed to capture, hold, and monetize our attention on the internet. So we haven't just learned 5 actionable, real-world routines to fundamentally upgrade our daily lives, we've also decoded exactly how this advice is strategically crafted to command our digital attention. To wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with the exact same provocative call to action that the source material uses to drive its own engagement. Think about that micro to macro arc we just went through. The 2-minute rule to crush procrastination, the morning digital detox to protect your focus, the 20-20-20 biological eye reset, the profound realization that you need to protect your dreams by saying no, and the compound magic of reading just 1 page a day. Out of everything we've explored today, ask yourself, which habit are you starting today?